Ladies and gentlemen, before I deliver my speech, I want to ask all of you a simple question. Do you guys know who Remington is? Maybe some of you? So Remington is an on-stage women character that is played by a man and have the ability to sing traditional songs really well and do traditional dances. Remington is also known as one of the famous cultural character that comes from Yogyakarta. And the moment that you guys don't even know a character as famous as Remington, it shows that you guys haven't actually explored what our culture has actually offered to us. My name is Davendra Putra and I'm from 3 State Senior High School. Today, I'll be talking about how the Indonesian educational system hasn't actually been enough to be able to educate their students about their cultural heritage. So we currently live in an era of globalization where other cultures could simply go crashing down with our culture, and us, as the society, are the ones who get affected. But do you guys know how? That is because us, as people, we are dynamic. Meaning, we have the ability to choose which value we want to learn and which culture we want to uphold. But because of that, we also can have the tendency to follow what trend that is actually going on and what our friend thinks it's cool for us to do. For example, us as teenagers these days have the tendency to wanting to learn English more because our friends think it's cool to do so rather than learning our boring language or Japanese, for example. This can actually lead to our culture heritage disappearing. Because culture isn't dynamic like we do, we, as the people that are dynamic, must have the responsibility and the self-awareness to be able to protect and preserve our beloved culture. But many of us still actually question, why is it important to actually protect our culture? What can we get from our culture itself? It is because our culture, our language, our value is the foundation that creates our identity as Indonesian. So that we have to protect our identity. But I say, in order for us to protect our cultural heritage, it needs a little more than our self-awareness. Because even in our family, it's also disappearing. Now let's just take a look at your mom's family and compare it to your family. It is actually certain that your family doesn't actually implement the cultural heritage that your mom family do. And this actually has a lot to do with globalization. Because globalization doesn't only affect us as teenagers, but it affects the whole society. Now the question becomes, what is the actual solution to protect our cultural heritage? Even in our family, it is also fading. Now let's take a look at Japan. Japan is currently having the same situation as us, with the globalization happening, the modernization also. But how can Japan actually sustain all of their cultural heritage? That is because Japan has the educational system that doesn't only focuses on their students learning about the theory of their culture, but also the application of this cultural heritage in everyday's life, where certain schools have certain programs to educate their students to be able to enjoy learning their cultural heritage. For example, they have kado, which is a Japanese flower arrangement, or sado, a Japanese tea ceremony, and many more. So the actual answer to this problem and solution actually lies in front of us, which is by making the learning of our cultural heritage attractive and enjoyable for students to learn. So that not only students actually know and learn about their culture, but they actually enjoy learning the steps of culture, so that our learning could be more effective that way. But how can we apply that to our actual educational system? Many of schools these days have extracurricular that actually provided them with their cultural heritage, for example, karawitan or certain traditional dances. But in order to make it more entertaining and more attractive for students, we should make seni budaya lessons not only about the students learning about the theory, but also the application of it in real life. Nowadays, children also have their own mobile phone, meaning that they can actually maximize this mobile phone by them actually creating a certain video, and in that video it consists of them doing certain cultural activities, for example dancing, singing, and many more, and actually sending it to their teachers so that they could actually enjoy these cultural activities by making them with their phones, so that we can create a better protection for our cultural heritage, for the sake of our culture and for the sake of Indonesia. Thank you.